My whole life I'm forever grinding, waiting for my time to shine just like a diamond. When life is rough and I ain't with that funny stuff, I use it all as motivation, but it's hard to have the patience. Watching time fly by might be the hardest thing I have to do in life. Frustrated that I ain't where I want to be yet, but I know that I'ma make it if I chase that check. Yes.
Cause I done seen the time go by for too many years now when the stars were aligned. Cause I done seen the time go by. Yeah, I done seen the time go by.
I've been waiting all my life, and it was right before my eyes. Watching all this time slip by, now I realize I've been waiting all my life, and it was right before my eyes. Watching all this time slip by, now I realize. You know I've been waiting, 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 waiting. But will you wait for me?
See the light. I wanna see the light.
Camera.
I wanna see the light.
Thank you.
I wanna see the light. I wanna see I wanna see the light. 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 I wanna see the
Hey guys, Sean Terry here. We are live 2024. Super excited. Goal Attraction Workshop. I'm going to give you our free download. Excited to do that. And we are going to rock the house. And we're going to talk about how to crush it in 2024, specifically about goal achievement, goal attraction, bringing goals toward you. And I'm going to give you this 28-page workbook, and I've been doing this for years now. So Omar, thanks for the comment. Bob P, the lock, boom, baby. That's awesome. And Justin, I'm going to give you a link that you can download the workbook here shortly. Eric, thank you very much for appreciate the kind words. I'm excited for you guys. Benjamin, what's up? Patterson in the house. Hello. We got a lot of great information we're going to cover and about wholesaling. So real quick, before we actually get into it, just so you know, I've been wholesaling now for the past 20 years. In 2019, I pivoted from local in Phoenix to national. Now, locally in Phoenix, we were literally the, number one wholesaler. What's up, Deborah Banks? Good afternoon. How you doing? We were one of the largest local wholesaler here in Phoenix, Arizona. We had billboards. We were dropping 100,000 mailers a month. We had our Google AdWords going. We had our Bing going. I had a fleet of local salespeople. We generate leads. I had lead managers setting appointments, and we were going out and crushing it. So the bottom line is that in the local market, there's only so much you can expand and do. So Supreme Real Estate Solutions, good afternoon. KB Cool, what's going on? Val, how's it going? Thanks for joining me. So what happened was I, looked at our P&Ls in 2019. It was about, September, October in 2019. And what happened was our P&Ls started to dwindle profit-wise, where we would be at a 30 to 40% profit margin. Then it was turned down to like 20%, then 15%, then 10. We got down to like a 5% profit margin, and the reason why is because of the cost per lead, right? In the average deal size. Those two things made a whole difference. So our cost per lead was over 500. Our average deal size was 18,000. So, and it took roughly 20, 25 leads to get a deal. So if you actually compute those numbers and you run an office and you run a team and you do all the things that you're doing, the numbers don't compute and it dwindles that profit margin next to nothing. So I had to make a decision. What do I do? Now, anytime, just so you know, anytime I make a big decision, right? And I had the decision, do I fire everybody and hire people? I mean, what do I do, right? I had a huge local team, I had an engine that was going. What did I do? That cost per lead, Omar, was about $550. And if you have $550, 18,000 average deal size, and then you have, 20 to 25, 23 to 25 leads per deal. If you do those numbers, it doesn't work. So the bottom line is I had to make a decision, and I had to make a decision on what am I going to do? Do I cut everybody back? Do I lay everybody off? Do I try to find another lead source that's cheaper than $550 cost per lead, which we did. I mean, we did RVM. We actually introduced RVM to the market when no one was using RVM, ringless voicemail. So what do we do? Or do I quit? Right? Do I quit? I had, apartments, complexes that we acquired, so we're getting, cash flow from those. I had, Flip to Freedom, this company that was generating millions of dollars in revenue, but I couldn't be the person that taught and wasn't doing the business. I had an ethical problem with actually teaching, being a person that taught and not did the business, right? So what happened was what did I do? Quit? And I just basically have to quit and shut down both businesses because I wasn't, I couldn't ethically teach how to go out there and build a wholesaling empire, and not actually do it. So I said, and here's what I do when I make big decisions. The first thing I do when I make a big decision is I pray about it, right? I pray about it, and I put it in God's hands. And if I put it in his hands and I continue to operate and I ask for a solution. Now, anytime you have a big situation, a big decision, a big event that's coming up, something, something monumental, something that's big, pray about it, put it in God's hands. Now, I don't know what religion you are, what you believe in, what you don't believe in, but listen, I'm telling you, and I'm going to tell you what I do, and I'm going to tell you what works for me, and it might not work for you, but for me, I pray about it. I put it in God's hands. I even prayed before this that I would make an impact in your life, even if it's just one person. If I can make an impact in your life in a positive way, and it might be one piece of information that makes a difference in your life, but if that's what I pray for, that I can make an impact, and this goes out and does some great things. So Omar completed 777 challenge. Awesome. Great job. Congratulations. So excited for you for that. So what happened, right? So did I quit? No, I didn't quit. Did I give up my wholesaling business and just for teaching? No, I couldn't do that. That just didn't work. It didn't feel right. It didn't work in my heart to be able to do that. So what I do? Well, it's interesting. I went national and I went national. And what I did is I modified our Google AdWords campaign. Instead of hitting geo-targeted area in Maricopa County, I went national. I hit the whole entire United States. Omar, $65,000 deal on 777 challenge? What? Congratulations. So for everybody who doesn't know that, I'll continue telling the story in a second, and then we'll get into the workbook. I'm actually going to give you the workbook here in a second. But just as Omar brings this up, so Omar completed the 777 challenge, and he got a $65,000 deal. Congratulations. So Omar, reach out to Chelsea if you could. I'd love to do an interview with you and learn more about what you've done. We had Ben actually, who completed the 777 challenge and got a $135,000 deal, $135,000 deal. Amazing. So we got Omar 65, we got Ben 135,000. That's some incredible numbers. So, for anybody who wants to join, maybe Chelsea, if you go to here, we've opened up 777 challenge for a couple more people. We have basically 10 days on it. If you go here, you can sign up for the 777 challenge. Right here, we have it open for the next. And here's Ben's story. We got to put your story up here, Omar. Holy cow, that's awesome. But here's Ben up here, $135,000 deal. Here's his wire coming in from Clothesline, which is the title company we recommend. Gives you an idea how to join, right? 777 challenge. So if you could, Alec, put the link in the chat, that would be great. And you can pin that. Chelsea, if you're watching, can you put that in the chat and pin it? But this is the link to 777 challenge. We opened it back up just for a handful of people to get people started for 2024. So congratulations to Omar. He completed. And basically the challenge is this. Turn 700 into 7,000 in 7 weeks. 707,000 in 7 weeks. And if you don't get a deal, it's absolutely free. All you can do is ask for a refund. And so Omar signed up for the 777 challenge. He got started, and boom, he got he got $65,000 deal, which is absolutely amazing. Brandon Jarvis, what's up, Big Daddy? Hope you're doing well. Anyway, so the bottom line is obviously this works really well. So enough of that. So if you there'll be a link, check out that link in the comments there. If you want to learn more about the 777 challenge that Omar went through and Ben went through, and we'd love to have you part of that challenge. All right. So now what did I do? I went national. I took my AdWords campaign and I created another campaign, and I hit the whole entire United States. Leads started to come in all over the country, from like Vermont to Alaska to Nebraska to Seattle, all over the country. Now, we didn't know how to comp the product. We had no idea what we were doing. And I told my team, I said, we're going national. We're changing CRMs, which is your customer relationship management. We're moving from Podio to Freedom Logic. We changed CRMs. We're going national. We had to learn to sell over the phone. We had to learn to find buyers in different markets across the country. Guess what happened? About 80% of my team quit. And this was in about November of 2019. 2019, November of 2019, my whole team quit. And I had basically 3 people left, right? I had my 3 girls. I had Jubilee, right? I had Jubilee, I had Devin, and I had Gia. Basically 3 people. Everybody else quit. And I started from scratch, not knowing how to do deals nationally, not knowing how to comp properties, not having a CRM. We had to figure out our whole CRM, our Freedom Logic, to get that all set up, right? we had leads coming in nationally, but we didn't know what areas were good. We didn't know how to sell properties. We couldn't find buyers in the area. How do you show properties? How do you do boots on the ground? I didn't know any of that. And this is November 2019. Now, if you got me a deal in Phoenix, man, I could get that deal done in a matter of less than 7 days. I could get that closed. I buy it myself, close on it, get it done, do whatever. If it was a deal and it was in Phoenix, I could get that done like that. So what happened was you took me and I was in a small bowl and I was a fish in a small bowl with a bunch of other little fish. And I jumped out and went into the ocean and I was a small fish in a big ocean and I had no idea what I was doing. So what happens, what do you do when you don't know what to do? When you don't know what to do? Wow. I got a $19,500 deal, a $57,000 deal, owner finance, and a $280,000 house. Nice. Dr. Larry, crushing it. Nice job, buddy. 777 challenge. There you go again. That's amazing. Awesome, Larry. So anyways, the bottom line is, what do I do, right? What do you do? If you don't know what to do, what do you do? So interestingly enough, a student of mine from years back was in our mastermind, Nick Perry, right? I reached out to Nick Perry and I did probably about a 30-minute Zoom with Nick Perry. Now I want to give him credit, and I always like to give people credit where credit is due. He spent some time with me and he talked about the process on how to close a deal over the phone. He talked about the process and how to determine what, and he was about a year ahead of me of going national. So what happened was, I had a good conversation with him about how to, pretty much an idea, and that gave me, and it was like literally a 30-minute Zoom. I didn't want to waste a lot of his time. I wanted to gather some information, and he did not, I knew AdWords pretty well, so I did an AdWords nationwide. He gave me an idea of what was happening, right? So, and he gave me just a little bit, just a nugget that I could work with to understand the process to close over the phone, to comp properties nationally, and to basically move forward. So here's what happened, right? So in 2019, that was like November, December, I pushed out my marketing still. I hired someone off of Instagram. He got started, and it was me, one guy, and my three girls, Gia, Jubilee, and Devin. And we attempted to start. Now, in January of 2020, we signed 40 contracts in January. Myself, this new guy I hired from Instagram, and our team, with no processes, no systems, really not kind of winging it. Now, here's the thing, right? Guess how many we closed? Guess how many we closed? One. We canceled 39 deals. 39 deals. Canceled 39 deals. We closed one deal in January of 2020, and we made $3,250 in a small little town in Indiana. Right. And we sold the house to a gym owner who bought that house. He was a gym owner and he happened to buy real estate in this small little town in Indiana. So out of the gate, could I have said this doesn't work? Could I have said this, this business model sucks? Could I have said, we suck? We did 3,200 revenue. And guess what? I still had to pay my team. I still had to pay their salaries. I still had a AdWords bill. I still had the office. I have a 4,500 square foot office. That's $7,000 a month. I had to pay that. We had to pay our AC and electric and our internet and all that type of stuff and all the stuff. So I was in the hole probably about almost 80, 90 grand for the month of January, starting my quest of doing this wholesaling operation nationwide, right? that was January. February, we went out, we put a criteria on the deals, and then we signed some more deals. And then we closed a couple more deals, right? Then, right? And what happened of March of 2020? Well, we all know, right? The whole world shut down. And literally everybody worked remote. We still tried to figure out how to operate. And we did, right? Now, if I fast forward a year in 2020, we ended up closing about $1 million that year in revenue. Now, one key thing is I had to make another decision. I hired a gentleman by the name of Josh, who's my COO of the operation right now, and pretty much runs the entire team. I come in and I do our meetings, I do our trainings with our team and stuff like that. But he primarily runs day-to-day operations. So Josh came from, and he managed large call centers. And he had a job previously that was making $300,000 or $400,000 a year. So I had to give him a good salary. So I had to make a decision again, March of 2020, the week the world shut down. Do I hire Josh or not? Right? Do I hire Josh? And I'm talking about a $200,000 plus salary a year, plus bonuses and stuff like that. So I had to make a decision. The world shut down, right? I'm just starting this nationwide wholesaling operation. What do I do? Right? What do I do? Well, again, I put it in God's hands, prayed about it, had a little faith. And you know what? I hired him anyways. Now, logically, it made no sense. What was I thinking, right? We're at the startup. We're trying to, we're, not really a startup and doing it for 20 years, but now we're doing a national. It's almost like a startup. So, come fast forward, it was a great decision. Josh is amazing. And he's like now almost like a partner, help running the operation, which is amazing. And now we still have not exceeded what I've done in the local markets, but we are super close and our profitability is through the roof, which is amazing. So, for every year we've grown over $1 million a year since 2020, which is amazing. We had a stellar year in 2023. We pivoted at the right time in 2021. We pivoted to do RBP, where we sell properties via the MLS to retail buyers. No one was doing that in the wholesale industry. We're having a pivot right now. We're working on a pivot right now that will again change the industry in 2024. I'll talk about it in the future when we're ready to release it, but literally it will change the way it's going to be. It's going to be like another RBP, but it is actually RBP with a different type of structure. It's going to literally be the way to sell properties where you don't have to deal with banks, you don't have to deal with appraisals, you can get properties closed quickly. It's going to be amazing. Our attorneys are papering the deals right now, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So the bottom line is this, in the next 12 to 18 months, we should hit the $10 million a year mark at a 40 to 50% profit margin. So just think of that, right? Just think of that. Right now, I hired someone to hire. That's all they do. Their entire job is to hire. We're going to add anywhere from 15 to 20 people this year, specifically acquisitions in our disposition department. And our goal is to hit, anywhere between $7 to $10 million in the next 12 to 24 months with the team of people through our training, through our processes and what we do and how we do it. So the bottom line is, which is amazing. Now, sometimes I can, just to be straight with you, sometimes I feel like, after 20 years, I should be further. I should have 100 employees and I should be doing $100 million, a year. I sometimes, I feel like I should, and I almost beat myself up and I'm like, whatever. But, again, I go back and I go, I'm at the right place at the right time for a reason. And I do sometimes get FOMO, and I look at, incredible people like Pace Morby and, Grant Cardone, and they're buying all these things and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, boy, maybe I should have done that. And, I look back and I wholesaled during the 2008 real estate market crash, and I kind of looked at all that. And, I owned a lot of land going into the $30 million worth of land going in the 2008 crash. And it was a nightmare. So I know what a crash does and how it can really ruin someone, and change their entire focus from earning income to saving income, right? Saving cash to be able to do it. And that's what I did for years and years after the 2008 crash. So the bottom line is that, in my humble opinion, and I study a lot and I read a lot, but I'm not I can't foresee stuff. I can't, I don't have a crystal ball, but from what I study, I'm under the impression or believe based upon my stats that there is going to be a massive real estate correction. So, I look at, do I really want to own $1 billion worth of apartment complexes or a whole bunch of things like that? Maybe not. I don't know if I really want to deal with that stress. I'd rather focus on, our wholesaling operation and really growing it to the best it can be, because I believe that wholesaling, what we're talking about right now, is probably the greatest opportunity for an average person with, maybe no background or skill or education or business education to literally transform their life into, everything you wanted to be, where you can make 50, 100, 200,000, 300,000 a month, in revenue, and do deals like Omar, $65,000 deal. A 65,000, most people make that in a year. And Omar did that, with a deal. And Ben did 135,000. Some people don't even make that in 1 or 2 or 3 years. And he learned this information and did it in a matter of a couple months. So the bottom line is we are in a great position right now. So here's the thing: you have business and you have you, right? You have you. And here's what I'm going to dive in. I'm going to give you the workbook and we can start going through it together. But I want to talk about you in circumstances. Circumstances are, everything around you. You get a flat tire, right? You're, something happens financially, an emergency happens, and it takes away your savings. I just got off the phone with a lady in Tennessee, who just got laid off from her job. She has 25 years of sales experience, has been in real estate industry, and she just got laid off from her job in December because the company shut down, and she's freaking out, and she now, I'm talking to her for an interview to bring her on, and she's like, fits the mold perfectly. So, but we have a process that we interview. So the bottom line is that, when you're looking at certain things, there are circumstances that happen and how we react to that. Now, I know there's, people that freak out and they lose sleep about it, and they have this panic, anxiety feeling within inside, and they, I don't know if I can handle it. And there's this monumental stress that just pounds upon them, and what I hope from this is that, we really can't control to a certain degree our outside circumstances, but we can control how we are centered, poised, and have peace no matter what. So imagine having a terrible situation circumstance-wise, but you know what? You're in peace. You're in absolute peace, 100%. I don't care if there's no money in the bank or if there's $1 billion in the bank. I don't care if there's, this situation or maybe a health situation. The bottom line is how you handle that inside is important. And we're going to talk about that. Now, also, there's basically 3 main points that we're going to get into. Number one, and we're talking all personal, are one is your morning ritual, right? And these 3 things can catapult you forward, where where favor, success, more than enough, abundance literally flows to you like you've never seen before. Goals become easily achieved because the right people, the right circumstances, and the right events line up perfectly that you cannot explain. Meaning, deals come to you like a $65,000 deal, right? Deals come to you, opportunities come to you, people line up perfectly for you, situations happen. Why did Ben get a $135,000 deal for his first lead that ever came in on his campaign? Why? Right? Why did Omar have a lead that came in perfect, however he got it, in a $65,000 deal? Why? Right? So it's you. In what happens is people believe that they need the how do I talk to a seller? How do I set up my AdWords? How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? How do I do that? For technical stuff, I can teach you all the technical stuff, and I have videos and trainings and stuff, and just go through the YouTube channel for free. You can have all that. The bottom line is that it's you who attracts what you have in your life, right? It's you, your thoughts, your world view. What is your world view? Are you a pessimist? You believe there's not enough? There's it's a zero-sum game where if you win, someone else loses. The bottom line is that we kind of look at that. So let me give you the link. Chelsea, could you put the link to? Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna do this right here. I want to play this real quick for you guys. So I always like to start with something motivational. So let's listen to this.
I'm not coach right now. I'm your conscience. You're in a fight between will and skill. I say will first because that's where you are. You locked and loaded with skill. You practicing every day. You putting in your work. You buying everything. You making the investment. You living your dream. You walking like your dream. You surrounding yourself around your dream. You got mentors, everything. You putting your work in. You got your skill. Now it's a test of your will. It's a mindset thing you in right now. It's a mindset thing because your challenge ain't moving. Your mountain is not moving. You don't feel like you're making any progress. You're not physically moving. When you see everything else around you and other people around you moving, you not making progress. You're in the test of your will right now because life says it has a little more test for you. It's no different because we've messed up, because you fell off the wagon, you've been on alcohol and drugs, and you gave up on life, or you dropped out, or you've been to jail 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and you really want your dream to happen, and you're putting in your work, and nothing's happening yet.
Every transformation always gets worse before it gets better. It's supposed to be that way. When you embark this journey, you must know that it's going to go down before it comes up. But when it comes up, it's going to go so much higher than you've ever been.
The action of making progress is progress. The push itself, the fight, you get up and swing and miss, that's progress. You get up and you run at what you want with everything you got and you miss, that's progress. The effort of making the attempt is progress. It must happen. It can't do anything but move. You can do anything but make progress. You pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're doing everything right. You're tired, you're exhausted, and ain't nothing happening yet. That word is what you're waiting for. Yet. Because I promise you, if you keep pushing, if you keep giving me all your effort, it will happen.
You have to be equipped mentally to endure this process. Knowing what you're about to go into is step 1. Knowing it's an uphill battle, but a winnable one and one that's achievable. And at the end of this race, guys, you're gonna be more capable. The first step, guys, is knowing it's a tough road.
As soon as you decide to stop looking for answers in other people and miracles somewhere down the yellow brick road and click the heels of your mind and set your affections on things that are above, you could have been free years ago. All jealousy, all pettiness, all unforgiveness, all strife, all malice, all confusion, all blaming other people for your mistake. You got till midnight to get rid of every poison that's hindering you, every inflexibility that's stopping you from what God is about to pour into your life. Woe be unto you if you go into another year and waste another year with the old mentality while somebody's in the hospital begging God for the opportunity that you have right now. You better step into this moment.
All right. So love that. I love these motivational videos. That's part of my morning ritual. Actually, I watch one of those videos every morning, read quotes, and it just gets you fired up. And here's what I want to convey to you right before we kind of get started in this goal attraction workbook. I'm going to walk you through. Number one is, if you believe that 2024 is your year, it will be your year. I know that 2024 will be your year. Whatever happened in the past is in the past, because from this point forward, you will change. And what happens is when you change, and the change is for good. And here's the thing, and we're going to learn over doing this right here, how not to just rely on your own efforts, right? There is a larger power out there. There's the universe, there's God. And if you combine those two together, you have the ability that you've never had before. So you can't look at past results and then say, okay, I'm just going to continue to get what I've got, but you have to change. And if you combine yourself, right, with the God, this universal power moving forward, then you will be amazed what you can accomplish. And you can have faith in that. You can know that at the bottom of your heart, that if you push forward through the pain, through the hard, because here's the thing, success, like I said, if it was easy, everyone would do it. So there has to be a barrier, and it's how bad you want it. In the video, it said, it's darkest before the dawn. It's darkest before the dawn. So, it might be dark, now, and you might think to yourself, I don't know how I'm going to do it. There's no way possible. I'm so far away from my goal. I'm just getting started. I don't know what to do, right? You may have all these things, but if you keep moving forward and you have faith, and you pull in the power of God in the universe, and you move forward with God as your partner, then there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't overcome. I can tell you, every question, everything you don't know has been answered already. There are people doing millions and millions of dollars following what we've been teaching, right? And you can do the exact same thing. We have, Jacob, and Brandon knows him. Jacob, part of our mastermind, $2.6 million. And he's running at a 68% profit. 68% profit. Show me a business where you can do $2.6 million and run at a 68% profit. He makes what pro athletes make doing what we're doing. And the reason why is he's taken the information, he's combined, he's moved forward in faith, and he's absolutely crushed it. So let's go to the goal attraction workbook. There, you can hit that link right there. Download the goal attraction workbook, and you can get it here. Just put your information in there, and we can move forward. So let's go to the goal attraction workbook. I have done this every year for our mastermind group. Not really for like on a public format here on YouTube or anything like that, but I'm just kind of putting it out there. See, so if we don't know each other, I'm a U.S. Marine, prior U.S. Marine, traveled around the country, currently buy and sell 15 to 20 properties nationwide. I own a bunch of 760 multifamily units across the country. Been married now actually for 26 years, so I got to update that. We got members all across the country. So, and I've been wholesaling now for the past 20 years. I love what I do. And more importantly, I love training. So let's talk about, and we're going to go through this workbook here and kind of explain what it is and how we can work together on it. So first off, we know that success is 80% mental and 20% mechanics. We talked about that earlier, that you believe that it's 20% mechanics, right? But it's actually 80% mental. So if we can get ourselves dialed in, tuned in, turned on, and tapped in, right? If we're tapped in, then we have the ability to attract things that we want in our lives. So we've got to know that it's 80% mental and put that forth. So the first thing is, when we do this is when we're going to accomplish something, or we set a goal, or we have a dream, what happens is we have what's called avoidance rationalization. So these avoidance rationalization, when you think about your goal, when you think about what you want to accomplish, what's going to happen is, you're going to have this mind that's going to turn on, and this is your old self that's coming forward. We're going to change that moving forward in 2024. So what happens is you have that, and your mind says, I don't have enough money. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm too tired, right? I don't know if I can do that. What are my friends going to think? What is my family going to think? My wife won't let me do it. My spouse, my husband won't let me do it, right? So what happens is we have a goal or a dream, a vision that we want to accomplish. And our vision, our why, our selves we can see, that is the burning flame. That's what we want to keep at the forefront. That's when, like I wake up every morning at 5:30, 6 o'clock. Well, guess what? It's completely pitch black. This morning, it was 39 degrees out. Yes, was my bed warmer? And I woke up and it was free. It was like I had to turn on the heat in the house, right? I was freezing. But you have a burning why to get up every single, and I jump out of bed excited for the day, right? Of what's life. Now, if you could jump out of bed and you're excited about your day and you're excited, it doesn't matter if it's cold out. It doesn't matter if it's 39 degrees out. It doesn't matter if your bed's warmer, right? You're getting out of bed. So what is your avoidance rationalization, where you rationalize that you can't have X because of Y? I can't do that because of this. So part of this book right here is, if you acknowledge I'm tired and you use that as an avoidance, and you rationalize, well, I'm tired, I went to bed late, my stomach hurts, I don't feel good, and to not do what you said you're going to do. So we're going to talk about, your calendar. We're going to talk about morning ritual. We're going to talk about setting goals. We're going to talk about, discipline and achieving those goals. Discipline is doing what you say you're going to do, right? That's what discipline is. I'm going to wake up at 5:30. And do you wake up at 5:30, right? Doing what you say. And the more that you do what you say you're going to do, the more confidence you have. You have. If you do what you say you're going to do. So what is stopping you from doing what you say you're going to do? And those are your avoidance rationalization excuses to avoid the action that you said you were going to do. So put in the comments there, if you could, what are some of the avoidance rationalization or excuses that you might use to avoid action? I'm just curious. If you just put them in the comments down there, I can see them. Appreciate it. It'd be interesting to see what people say for, for their avoidance rationalization. So I'll give you mine. Mine was, Oh, I'm tired, right? Doomsday Decal said, I already made enough this week. There you go. And that's good, man. And it's all perspective, right? I'm exhausted, not enough time. Ooh, time is a good one. Not enough time is a good one. Thanks, Grace. Too tired, Tony. Why? Too tired is a common one. I'm not computer savvy, Benjamin. Good one. Yeah, he's not computer savvy, but he made $135,000 on a deal. Too busy, tired, right? I didn't know everything I need to know to take action. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Right there. Tired, too busy. Yeah, it's like so. I have ones. It's too late, right? Oh, it's too late. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. It's too late. So just so you know, I launched Flip to Freedom in about 2010, 2011, and I built Flip to Freedom from 10 o'clock at night to 2 o'clock in the morning, right? I had to learn how to edit videos. I had to learn how to edit audio in a podcast. I learned how to set up membership sites. I'll do it tomorrow, Mark. That's a guy. Yeah, that's my kids. Yeah, my kids are here. I got to spend time with them, so I don't want to do that. No money, right? Now, here's like, and these are avoidance rationalization. So put in there, no money, not enough time. I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. It's too late. I don't know everything I need to know to take action, right? So all those, what we want to do is we want to recognize those. And as soon as there's an action to take and you hear yourself, Gia, or Mark, or Mario, or Emily, right? And you hear yourself going, I'll do it tomorrow. And you now recognize your avoidance rationalization. I will do it tomorrow. You immediately, you think of your why. Why are you doing this, right? And then you can pivot, you can turn it off and take the action. The problem is if we don't recognize the avoidance rationalization, we use it, it rationalizes it, we don't take action. We use it, we rationalize it, we don't take action. We use it, we rationalize, we don't take action, right? So the bottom line is to recognize, and we write them down. Write them down for you, what those 4 major things that is your story that is stopping you from becoming successful. And now what you do, so now if I ever say, I'll do it tomorrow, I do it now. I have no money. See, here's the thing. Here's for, I'm gonna butcher your name, Sadiki. No money, right? So you have no money. No money. So if you say you have no money, what happens is you are totally focused on your abilities, right? Your abilities. But if you know the laws of the universe and you are turned in, tapped in, turned on, right? What happens is if God gave you the ability to have that dream, he gave the ability to finance that dream. So you just have to move forward knowing that the money will be there and having faith on what to do. And do what you can do. As if it's finding leads. Guess what? You can find for sale by owners on Zillow. We have people at 777 Challenge. They got their deals off Zillow for free. And then now they got a deal. Now they can reinvest and they can turn around and get more deals, right? So for every excuse or avoidance, there is a solution. All right. Now, if we move on, we talk about your story. The only thing keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself why you can't have it. Again, this is a bigger story. And see, my story was that I didn't go to college. Okay, so I didn't go to college. I was a U.S. Marine, and I got out of the U.S. Marine Corps, and I actually ended up bartending. That's what I did. I tried to go to school, but I really didn't do well in school. I tried like a community college. I went to like an accounting class and bombed it. So school wasn't my thing, and I came from my dad made no more than like $40,000 a year. He was a police officer, back in Vermont. So you know, I didn't come from success. I didn't have a college education. And I thought that you had to be or could be or would be successful if you had that education. And because I didn't have that education, it kind of I felt it inhibited me, or my story was that it inhibited me especially when I started my wholesaling business, or, any other careers I had. I always felt like I was a step behind everybody else because I didn't have that solid educational foundation, um, to do stuff. So that was my story that I told myself. So, I've obviously flipped that story. And I know Justin, you put Justin Andres on there, said, my mind won't let me succeed. That is a story, Justin. That is a story. You say that my mind, and here's the thing, be very careful on what you, and I know I asked you guys to put this down, but be very careful on what you say, because your words are powerful. You speak your future, right? You think your future. So it says, my mind won't let me succeed, right? You control your mind. See, God gave us control over one thing, and that one thing is the most powerful thing, and that's our mind, right? Our mind has the ability to attract like things, and we're going to get into that and what that looks like. But the bottom line is, our story is critically important. So if we look at right here, an example of what is your limiting story that you continue to play in your mind. And what my limiting story is that I didn't go to college. I didn't go to college. Hi, Ladina Wood. I didn't go to college. So I was like, I didn't go to college, so maybe I'm not smart enough, and maybe I can't run a business, and I don't know really how to run a business. I didn't really have any business education. I didn't really know how to read P&Ls or do this or do that. So that was my limiting story, and it impacted my overall performance. So I had to change that story, and I had to pick up a book, and I'd start reading and educating myself on becoming a better business person. So Lewis Hay says on here, if you accept a limiting story, then it will become a truth for you. It'll become a truth for you. So here's the thing. What is more important to you? Your goal, your dream, your why, your mission, your passion, your purpose. Is that more important, or your story, your limiting story? Because whatever you put the importance on will become true. And maybe you're doing it for your kids to set an example of what you can do with your life. Maybe you want to do it for your mom and dad or whatever, and you want to help them financially and pay off their house and debt and cars. And, maybe you have someone sick that's in a hospital and you want to help take care of them and be able to spend time with them and not have to worry about making money, per se. Maybe you just want to, be able to set your family up and maybe do it for your wife or your significant other, to do something for them that they would love. Or maybe you just want to, maybe you want to travel, and it's interesting when you travel, do you want to travel, in coach, in the middle seat and go stay at a, Circle 8, right? Because it's cost effective? Or would you love to go first class, possibly private, and stay, at the Plaza Hotel, and not just stay at the Plaza Hotel, but stay at the penthouse suite at the Plaza Hotel. So what do you want for your life? And see, it's interesting because I came from Vermont. My dad made no more than 36 to 40,000 a year. I never grew up with nice stuff, never had nice things. I mean, we went clothes shopping once a year to Sears, and I would get one pair of jeans, I get 3 t-shirts, and I get like a pull up like a sweatshirt. That'd be my school. I remember one year I got a shirt. My mom made me buy it. It said front gammon and the back said backgammon. Have you heard the game like backgammon? It said front gammon and backgammon, right? So, and I had to wear that as a junior in high school, going to school with my 3 shirts, my one, sweatshirt, and my pair of jeans that I beat up. So, I never really came from much. So to think big, I never thought I'd ever stay at the penthouse suite at the Plaza, but I was able to take my family there, and we flew first class, and it was absolutely amazing. I've stayed at some of the most incredible resorts, Turks and Caicos, with a private butler in our own, cottage on beaches resort, or like insane stuff, doing this business, wholesaling houses. It's crazy. All right. So we're going to talk about something that triggers some people, and it's called the law of attraction. Okay. And we're going to talk about the law of attraction, and not specifically the secret per se, but the law of attraction scientifically has been proven in quantum physics. Okay. So, and actually it's interesting. Grant Cardone just put out a video, a couple days ago, and he was talking specifically about writing your goals down every morning and every evening, before you go to bed. And that is a specific thing that you do, and it's an attention that you focus on. So in quantum physics, and we know in basically the law of attraction said that like energy attracts like energy. So if we are aware and understand that everything is energy, like this, it might be solid, but if you look at it under a microscope, we will see, atoms, protons and neutrons flying around each other, but essentially is energy. This desk is energy, the computer is energy. And what they've studied in quantum physics is if you observe and hold a thought in your mind in the minute, and they looked under like a microscope under minute, and they put a thought, that thought becomes, and it actually creates itself, right? Through thought. So they've taken the down to under the microscope, minute atoms, and put brain waves and thought into, and it was the petri dish, or the observation chamber was empty. And then when there was thought put on that observation chamber under a high microscope, it created. That's quantum physics. So to say that like energy doesn't attract like energy, or thoughts do not create things. I mean, Napoleon Hill wrote this book, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend you do. And what he did is he interviewed the most successful people at that time. Andrew Carnegie commissioned him to go interview all successful people and find what their commonalities were. Now, in the book here, he wrote Think and Grow Rich. That was the commonality. They all had a burning desire, and that burning desire allowed them to focus intensely and specifically crystal clear on what they want. And here's the interesting thing is guess what? Guess what the commonality, because he also interviewed unsuccessful people and people that were broke or poor, and they found when they asked this simple question, and I'm going to ask you this question right now, and I want you to think, right? What do you want? So that was a question that Napoleon Hill asked in the book, right? To unsuccessful people. And there is a commonality between the answer of a successful person and the answer of an unsuccessful person. And so the question is, what do you want? You know what and I'll just give it to you. The unsuccessful person, they wanted to be rich. They wanted to lose weight. They wanted to be successful, right? They wanted to have a nice cars. They wanted to have a nice house. Now, is that bad? Does that sound like most of the people you know? Those answers you would look at and go, well, I want to be rich too. I want to have a nice house. I want to have nice cars. I want to have a nice lifestyle, right? Here's the difference. Successful people are hyper crystal clear on exactly what they want. Because here's the thing, if you've got the observing chamber in your general, you don't create. If you're specific, you create. So they have the book, The Secret, and it talks about the secret is the law of attraction. But the real secret behind the secret is being hyper specific on your observation chamber, which is your life. If you're hyper specific on what you want, and you keep that at the forefront of your mind, and we're about to get into what that looks like when it comes to actually operating and using the law. Law of attraction is like the law of gravity. It's a law. In using it along with being hyper-focused on our observation chamber to create our lives, we're going to use how to use the law of attraction to speed up the process. Okay? So you guys ready for this? So that was my framing on law of attraction. Now, if you're not familiar with law of attraction is the attractive magnetic power of the universe, like the law of gravity. Throw something up, it comes down, that draws similar energies together. The law states that like attracts like. Even the law of gravity is part of the law of attraction. All physical reality is made up of vibrations of energy. Your thoughts, too, are vibrations of energy. This is not a concept or a theory, but rather the startling new reality that quantum physics now reveals to us. Your thoughts have a powerful influence that affects what happens to you. Negative thoughts or mental images. Now, we think in pictures, right? I want you to picture this, right? I want you to picture, I just picked an orange and we're in Florida. We got the sun in our face and we just came up in a tractor. They dropped this off, right? And we're sitting here and we're looking at this beautiful orange tree. And now we have these big plump oranges sitting on, and we pick this plump orange out of the tree and we go over there and we slice it open and the juice just comes out of the orange and we take a slice of it and we take a bite of that orange, right? Now, if you're following me there, right, you are visualizing and your mouth begins to water with the taste of the orange. I know mine did, right? Need to take a drink of water. But the bottom line is your mouth starts to water because we see in pictures. So let's keep going. Your thoughts create mental images, feelings, and your negative thoughts and mental images will attract negative people, negative circumstances, and negative events in our lives. What we repeatedly focus on, we mentally image, eventually becomes our physical reality. So have you ever heard when it rains, it pours? You ever heard that? That's someone thinking when something bad happens, and they continue to think about that bad, it rains, it pours. The worse it gets, the worse it gets. Have you ever heard that? It happens. It just rolls. So if we continue to go here, right? Our thoughts or mental images create feelings, and our feelings are the powerful magnetic energy that attracts more of the same, right? So here's the thing. Our feelings. Now, have you ever heard about visualization? And you visualize as if it's already complete, right? You have, there was a test done with different basketball players. You have basketball players that visualize themselves shooting free throws. You had a group of basketball players that actually threw the free throws, and you had a group of basketball players that did nothing. And when they tested and they actually went back and threw free throws, the group of basketball players that threw free throws in their mind increased in performance exactly like the people who did it in actuality. And the group that did nothing, their performance didn't increase. Their stats didn't increase. So the two groups that increased are the groups that mentally visualize themselves shooting free throws and ones that actually did the work. Your mind cannot tell the difference between a specifically visualized event and reality. It cannot. So what happens is when we look at that, when we think of something, it gives us a feeling. How would you feel, right? How would you feel, if you moved in? It's the first day you moved in to your dream house. Picture that. Whatever house you want. Now, I don't want you to limit yourself. I don't want you to limit a budget. I don't care if the interest rates are high. I don't care if you believe you think you can. I want you to picture the actual house of your dreams without limitation, without monetary limitation, without limitation. You picture the house, and you now walk into your house of your dreams. Yeah, so it says, can I visualize many different things I want to happen? Is that spoiling myself? No, it's not. Because we're going to get back to feelings, and that's a great question. I appreciate you asking that. So the bottom line is that the feelings, right, and being hyper specific about what you want, being hyper specific about what you want, and then you're being specific, or you're thinking about yourself walking in the house. It's giving you a feeling of an actual feeling. So, Monet, anytime when you think or visualize of the multiple things, it's going to give you a feeling. And let's look at those feelings, right? So positive magnetic feelings. Love is the highest form of basically attraction feeling. Love. I love what I do. I love my job. I love people. Love is the highest form. I mean, if you look in the Bible, Love is, it's all about love thy neighbor as thyself. Put other people's interests before your interests. It's love, right? So the bottom line is here is love is the highest vibrational feeling you can have. Second to that is appreciation, then gratitude. Now, joyous, eager. So let me ask you a question. How would you feel if you just found out that you won, remember that $1 billion lottery? Let's say you won the $1 billion lottery and you just found out, you just got notice right now that you won. You had the tickets, you looked at them and you go, oh my gosh, we won the $1 billion lottery. Now, you're going to take the payout, so you're going to get $500 million and they're going to give it to you next Friday. How would you feel? Now, would you feel joyous? Would you feel just like grateful? Like, oh, would you be like, I'm so appreciative? Would you be eager? I can't wait to say this. Would you be relaxed? Would you be thrilled? Grace, I'd be floating on air. Would you be ecstatic? Would you be certain, dynamic, optimistic, energetic? Would you have all those positive emotions and feelings? Now, here's the thing. If you live in a constant state of love, appreciation, gratitude, joy, eager, you're relaxed, thrilled, ecstatic, dynamic, optimistic, energetic, and certain, I'm telling you, if you do that for the next 30 days and live in that state, all good things will come to you. All good things will come to you. The right people will come in your life. The right events will line up for you. The right situations will just unfold perfectly. And life will work for you, not against you. See, if you do the opposite, which we're going to talk about in a second, the opposite feelings, then life becomes difficult. Life is hard. You know, life is like taking a round peg and trying to shove it into a square hole. It is difficult. It is hard. You got to try to figure it out. But if you align yourself, and this is what I call tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. How you get tuned in, tapped in, and turned on is you live in the state of these three right here: love, appreciation, gratitude, right? And here's the thing. Here's what I want to tell you. And I was talking to my daughter, Ava. She's 20 years old. She goes, well, what if I don't feel grateful? What if I don't feel that right now? Now remember, right? God has given us the ability to control one thing. And that is our thoughts that can control our emotions. Thoughts control our emotions. So God gave us control over the one thing that gives us the ability to create thoughts and emotions. So my daughter, she goes, well, what if I don't feel like it? What if I don't feel good? What if I don't, what if I don't, feel like I'm grateful or joyous or eager? What if I feel angry? What if I feel confused or overwhelmed or frustrated? What if I'm frustrated? Right? We control how we feel. Now, here's the interesting thing I want to talk about real quick. We'll get back. You have to understand that if you let outside circumstances control the way you feel, you will be a ship in an ocean and you'll have no rudder, right? And you're going to be a ship and you're going to have a sails and the wind is going to blow you wherever the wind is going to blow you. Wouldn't you rather be a ship in the ocean with a destination? A destination. So imagine having a destination and you wanted to go to Turks and Caicos, right? Or Bahamas. And you have a specific point. That means you have to be specific about where you want to go. You get in the boat and you're on a mission to get there. Or you get in the boat and you just let the wind. That is the difference between success and failure. Success and failure is, I don't know where I'm going. Failure, they get in the boat and they let the wind or the outside circumstances control how they feel. How they feel. The bottom line is this, is that what if you could engineer how you feel? What if you could control what you think about? How could you do that? So let me give you an example. So I usually walk the dogs about 2 miles every night, like right around sunset or so. It gets darker earlier, so now I'm walking when it's dark outside. But you know, I live in a community and there's all these lakes and fountains and a lot of green grass and stuff like that. And they have this huge like walking path all around that goes like 2 or 3 or 4 miles all the way around. So I walk the dogs. You know what I'm thinking about when I walk the dogs? I'm not thinking about, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm not listening, right? I'm not distracted with my phone. I'm not sitting there listening to my phone. I don't have my earplugs plugged in. I'm listening. No, I got my phone in my pocket just in case anything happens, right? But I'm sitting there walking and I'm in nature. I'm taking deep breaths of fresh, crisp, cold air. And I'm thinking of everything I am grateful for, everything that I love, everything that I appreciate, everything that is awesome that's going on right now, even if it's not. Because if you focus on everything, then guess what? Like that, almost overnight, your life will change. Your life will change. Start focusing on everything you love, appreciate, and are grateful for, joyous, and you focus on those things, and you think about those things, and you constantly think about those things. You will feel better, you'll feel lighter, you'll feel more at peace in your life, and you will literally emanate this energy, this light into this dark, crazy world that we live in right now. Here, because most of the people around us, these are negative feelings, and these attract negative mental images, attract negative people, negative circumstances, negative events. Angry, depressed, confused, overwhelmed, frustrated, irritated, paralyzed. I don't know what to do. Empty, fearful. The Bible says, thou shalt not fear. Do not fear. Unhappy, pessimistic, bored, worried and anxious. Worried and anxious. Do you realize that kids these days, the predominant feeling is worried and anxious? They have anxiety attacks. They're anxious. That means their inside's a knot. They're anxious because they're comparing themselves to other people on social media. And then they constantly think about how they're not good enough, or they should do this, or they should do that. So Grace, you know how you be not worried and anxious? Put it in God's hands. Put it in God's hands. So Grace, take whatever you are worried and anxious, right? And give it to God. God says, I will take the yoke, take that yoke. Give it to God. And you'll be amazed because, see, here's the thing. If you had a partner, if you had a friend, let's say Imagine if they could just take whatever you're worried about, whatever you're anxious about, and give it to them, and you knew that it would be handled. And here's what I want to tell you. Grace. God has never, ever let me down. He always comes through every time with 100% certainty, even better than I could have imagined. Now, it was difficult. Making the transition to go from local in Phoenix to national. But I had faith. And you know what it did to the couple months we struggled? The gratitude and the appreciation that I could share it with you. Imagine if I pivoted, I went national, and holy cow, we made millions of dollars in the first month, and it was amazing. It was no problem. You go through things in your life so you're able to share it with other people and inspire them while they're going through those things as well. So be that inspiration, Grace. Give it to God. Have faith. Trust in Him with certainty and move forward in your day. So, worried and anxious. If you had true faith, you cannot have fear and faith at the same time. You can't. You either have fear or you have faith. You can't be wet and dry at the same time. You can't be in or out at the same time. You can't be worried and faithful at the same time. You can't have trust and fear at the same. You can't be anxious and fearful at the same time. You get to pick. It's your choice. So, what do you pick? Pick faith. Faith is better than anxious. Anxious is doing it by yourself. Faith. So, Grace, imagine this. Imagine your father is the richest, wealthiest, most successful person in the world. And they are the most gracious, awesome, loving, giving person there. And that person, right, is your father. How does he feel about you? He loves you. And he's willing to do whatever he can. Joshua, was it Joshua? Yeah, Joshua went out and he spent all of his inheritance. He was out partying, doing stuff, doing whatever. I think it was Joshua. And he came back and his dad ran to him, embraced him, got his best robe, and then turned around and put a huge feast on for him. And they said, give me the biggest calf I've got. Right? Because that was his son. The prodigal son came back. And he embraced him. He didn't look at him, but you know what? Oh, you're fearful. You did this wrong. You did that wrong. You partied. You did that, blah, 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 blah. He didn't look at all those things and beat him up. He didn't do that. He embraced him. And Grace, that's exactly what God is doing for you because he is your father. So Sandy says, my problem is knowing if I'm hearing from God or is it me? Telling myself what I want to hear, how does that differ? Great question, Sandy. So here's the thing. We telephone God by praying. God telephones us by intuition. Think about that for a second, Sandy. We telephone God by praying. God telephones us by intuition. Now, we all have a still small voice inside us. We all do. And if you work at listening for that still small voice, you will hear it, you will recognize it. Have you ever been in a situation or you had a feeling or a small voice that told you to go in a certain direction and it didn't make sense and you questioned it, but you did it anyways? And you went, and then the right person showed up, the right event happened, it just turned out perfectly. Because that still small voice essentially leads you. Now, I highly recommend, see if I can find it for you. So this is for you, Sandy. Okay. So this book, okay. Let me put my screen here. Okay. So check this book out, Sandy. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's by Florence Scovel Shinn. And I think they have it on audio on YouTube, right? This is probably one of the best books, Sandy, you can read, that was about talking to God and God talking to you, right? And it's the game of life, right? Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Juanita Floyd. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Sandy. But get this book. Get this book. Get this book right here. I highly, highly recommend it. I literally have read this book hundreds of times. I have it on audiobook. I listen to my car. Whenever I have my faith shaken at all, obviously I read the Bible, but I love that book. I love that book. And listen, I'm human. I have things happen, and I've got to remind myself, just like I'm reminding you, about life and stuff. So it's all good. Let me see if we're here. All right. So here's what we don't want to do. We don't want to live in negative magnetic feelings, right? So if you feel yourself angry, depressed, confused, overwhelmed, frustrated, any of these, what we do, it's called pivot. You pivot. You recognize that you're feeling overwhelmed and frustrated and angry and worried and anxious. You recognize it. That's the first step. The second step is we pivot. So we pivot, right? The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. That's correct, Grace. So you pivot now, and now you start thinking about everything you love and appreciate and you're grateful for. So you're thinking negative, depressed, overwhelmed, frustrated. You recognize it. And what's going to happen is you're going to feel bad. You're going to start feeling bad. Yeah. Riker, how's it going? Riker Applegate, my man. So you're going to feel bad in yourself. You're going to start feeling bad. And that feeling bad is an indicator. It's a ding, ding, ding. It's a red bell. It's a siren. And what happens is that indicator is a sign that you're feeling bad. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking about something that's not good for me. I'm going to pivot and I'm going to focus on everything I love, appreciate, I'm grateful for, I'm joyous, that makes me happy, eager, relaxed, thrilled, ecstatic, certain, optimistic. That's what you're going to think about. So that's that. So, and we're going to bring this in to the future, and we'll start. So, okay, so we talk about your burning why, right? Your burning why is becoming clear of exactly what you want. So your burning why is your fuel for sustained action. So if we understand how we feel, we get hyper focused and specific on exactly what we want, right? That becomes our burning why, and it's the fuel to sustain our action, to get up at 5:30 if that's what you said you were going to do, is to make that call, to talk to that seller, to make that offer, to do that thing that we know we should do. So that burning why is you're written, and we'll get into our January letter here in a second. But I want to talk about next probably one of the most important things that you can incorporate as a habit in your life. It's called the most successful people in history, the ones referred to as geniuses in their fields, masters of their crafts, had one thing in common other than talent. Most adhered to a rigid and specific daily rituals. Okay. So if we want to do what successful people do, we have to adopt what successful people have done. We have to do what they do. We have to copy, mimic, adopt in our lives what they do. So now I want to talk about another great book called The Path to Wealth by Mae McCarthy. Okay. It's the ultimate 30-minute morning ritual, infuses gratitude in your goals. So what we do is 30 minutes, a 5-step process. We want to read something inspirational, or for me, I have the app. The app is called, if you can see it, it's called the Motivate app. I don't know if you can, you're not gonna be able to see it, but it's called the Motivate app. It's an iPhone app. But it has great videos in there, like the one I showed you earlier, and it has quotes in there. It has some really good stuff. So you want to read or watch something inspirational for like the first 5 minutes. Read your January letter with emotion. We'll get that in a second. And then we're going to write everything you're grateful for now. Now, remember we talked about engineering gratitude, engineering love, engineering appreciation. That means we're cultivating, we're thinking about, we're directing our mind toward love, appreciation, and gratitude, right? We are not letting the wind just take us where someone makes you mad. Your, wife yells at you about leaving something on the floor, and now you're pissed off and you're frustrated and you're rah, rah, and you think about it, right? What we do is we pivot. We can pivot and think about and engineer. We have that time in the morning alone and engineer that gratitude. So Path to Wealth, Mae McCarthy. Write everything we're grateful for now, right? And then write everything you want to happen in the next 30 days with gratitude as if it's already happened. Here's an example. I am so grateful that my wholesale company closed over $220,000 in revenue for the month of January 2024. Sorry that 4 is wrong. It's spelled wrong. But 4. So I am so grateful that my wholesale company closed over $220,000 for the month of January 2024. And then what we're going to do is you're going to write everything you're grateful for that you want to happen. That's infusing gratitude in your goals, meaning I am so grateful that I'm at my perfect weight. I'm so grateful that this happened. I'm so grateful that that happened. So for an example, one of my gratitude things I've done this morning is, I'm grateful that we've hired 5 incredible rock stars out of the gate. Right? 5, just like amazing people. Now, interesting. I was just on the phone with one of the first applicants that just came in that just got laid off from a wholesale company that closed its doors in Denver, that she's been she's been in sales for 25 years, and she's closed sellers over the phone. That's what she does. And bam, like that. Just talk to her, and she's like, I just got to get my team to get on Zoom with her tomorrow. And I think we'll hire. But perfect people, situations line up perfectly. The first one. And guess what I was looking for? I was specific. I want someone sales. I want someone real estate experience, right? And I want someone that's good on the phone, that has extensive experience. And boom, what shows up? That's unexplained. Out of all the people out there, all of a sudden, boom, she just got laid off. She needs something. And guess what? We can work together. It's like, this stuff is amazing. Read your gratitude letter with excitement and emotion, because the excitement and emotion creates a feeling, and the feeling is what you want to engineer. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but it's a habit. And we want to do this and commit to doing this in 2024. Commit to making a change. Commit to this one thing that we're talking about. Commit to directing your mind. Commit to your morning ritual, and your life will change. One of our six-figure syndicate members in our mastermind came to me and he talked about the morning ritual. And I said, what's the most impactful thing that you've learned? And I thought he was going to talk about, the AdWords or the hiring process that we do with this or that, blah, blah, blah. Or the, how we, the KPIs and the profit projections and this. You know what he said? He said, the morning ritual changed my life. He goes, I never even knew. I worked in a corporate job. I rolled out of bed in the morning. I picked up my phone. I just went right, back right into emails and right into work. I ate breakfast on the fly, went to the office, and I was up. And I was in constant battles. And he goes, now I've incorporated as a habit ritual, a morning ritual, and my life has changed. Like you have no idea. I mean, that's pretty powerful, pretty amazing. All right. Now, I use the Day One app. This is a great app. So the fastest way to change your current condition. So let's talk about this real quick. Let's say you're in a current condition that is not pleasant, financially, emotionally, health-wise, relationship-wise. You're in a position that's not favorable now, right? First off, first thing you want to do is give it to God. Give it to God. Whatever that thing is, give it to God, right? Give it to him. Put it in his hands, right? And then do this. What we're going to do is gratitude is the single greatest power to change your life. Spiritual leaders and philosophers across the world credit a happier life to it. Deepak Chopra describes gratitude as an immensely powerful force that we can use to expand our happiness, create a loving relationships, and even improve our health. As Tony Robbins said, when you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Fastest way to change your life. Number one, put it in God's hands. Have faith, trust, and then be grateful. Think of everything you're grateful about. Think of everything you appreciate. Think about everything you love and engineer it, and watch your life change so fast. 90 days from now, you'll be a different person. 90 days from now, your financial situation will be different, and it will be unexplainable. You may think you have one source of income, right? God is your source. You may think a health situation is not curable. God is your source. You may think whatever, give it to God. It's not too big for God. Trust me. All right. Now, how do we take all this and put it into daily actions? And we're going to talk about our goals, but I'm going to show you another book because I'm big on books, is Organize Tomorrow Today. Okay. It's an amazing book. And basically what we do is this is how we organize our day. Here's just a glimpse on how I organize my schedule. On Sunday evening, I write everything I would like to accomplish for the week. And I essentially ask myself the question, let's say Friday comes, right? And now it's Friday. Was this an incredible week if I accomplished the things I want to accomplish that's going to move me toward my goal? And what happens is we have our calendar, and our calendar is essentially where we spend our time. So if I was going to look at your priorities and I looked at your bank account, basically your checkbook or where you spent money or your bank statement, and I looked at your calendar, that would essentially show me your priorities, what you prioritize in your life, right? Your calendar, where you spend your time, and where you spend your money. Those are the two things that will determine someone's priorities. Now, we have the ability to control, right? Our time, where we put our time. Now, we have our goals that we want to accomplish, like the things that we must do that we said we were going to do to move our wholesaling business forward, like, we're going to call motivated sellers. We're going to follow up with those leads. We're going to set up our AdWords campaign. We're going to blah, 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 right? All the technical stuff that we're going to do, right? So we're going to put that in our, essentially in our daily life, but it has to be an overarching priority on what you stand for, what you believe in, what is most important to you, right? Where your treasure is, your heart is. Yes, absolutely. 100% VMarsh. So the bottom line is that, you have to have the overarching of what's important. Now, how do you get to what's most important? Right? Fast forward and put yourself on your deathbed. Right? I know it's a thought. Put yourself there and think of what's most important with you. Probably your relationship with your creator, God, right? Probably the relationship with your family. That's most important. Your health, probably that you had a great, healthy life, right? And then probably everything else. But you're going to have priorities are the top thing. If you fast forward to your deathbed and you're laying there, what is the most important things to you? Well, for me, I want to have a really good relationship with my creator, right? Number two, I want to have my family around me, right? I don't want to make a ton of money and get divorced, right? I make a ton of money and not have friends be, with my kids, right? I don't want that, right? I want to be balanced and want to look back and have no regrets. Look back at my life and say, I poured everything out on the line. I tried to be the healthiest I could. I lived an incredible life. I tried to be the best I could, So here it is. Organize tomorrow, today. Then I schedule my calendar in 15-minute increments. Now, sometimes a task might take 30 minutes. It might take 40 minutes, whatever, on priorities. But God goes in my calendar first. Second, my family. Third, my health. And fourth, my work. Now, if you look at that, work is the last thing on the list. So when I do my calendar and I do everything in my everything in my calendar here, I put in I have like the Apple calendar there. So in my Apple calendar there, I put my morning ritual. My 30-minute morning ritual goes in there, and that's when I read the Bible, God time, pray, stuff like that, right? Which we talked about that morning ritual time, right? Then I'm gonna put all my family stuff. So like when my daughter danced, both my daughters danced. My older daughter then started playing tennis. My younger daughter was on the palm team. They had all these I went to dance competition, dance practices. So I put God first, all my family stuff in there. I never missed a dance competition, a tennis match. Tennis matches are at 2:30 in the afternoon. I never missed one. I never missed an important event. I never missed anything for my kids. I have always been to every single event they have. Why? Because it's a priority to me, right? I put my family, then I put my health. I go to the gym certain times. It's in my calendar. And then work fills around it. Now, can't remember who the person was. Juanita, the app is called Motivate. Looks like a fire. It's called Motivate. Yeah, Motivate. Yeah, Motivate. It's in the App Store. Just type in Motivate, and you'll be able to find it. So when they talked about priorities, and if you take a jar and you initially fill it with golf balls and rocks, right, and then pebbles and then sand, you'll fit everything in. And the golf balls and the rocks are the big priority items. The pebbles and the sand is things with less priority. So if you put the big things a priority and you fast forward yourself to your deathbed and you really ask yourself the question, what's my priorities? Then you come back in today's life, it's going to be the golf balls. It's going to be the rocks. It's going to be the pebbles, right? Something they'll all get done. Trust me, because they're all going to fit in this can. It's all going to fit in your life, and you're the canister. But if you put the sand in, the work, right? You put other things, the pebbles in, you're never going to fit in the golf balls or the rocks. You're going to leave out that, and guess what's going to happen? Divorce, alcohol, drugs, counselors, depression, anxiety, right? That's what happens if you take your priorities, you take them outside, and you just focus on the non-important. I mean, yes, is work important? Yes, but it's not my top priority. And guess what? My whole team knows that. If someone has a problem with their kids or something like that, or if they have to stay home, whatever, I'm like, go. Why? Priorities. So, the first step of success is priorities. Period. Okay. Now, this is working out. Got to be healthy. Have exercise. Now, I want to talk about, this is more financial, right? The ultimate wealth secret, that is pretty much you'll hear no one ever talk about, especially in the real estate space or on YouTube or whatever. But so, and it's difficult for people because, again, you look at where you spend your money and the priorities of where you spend your money. But here's the thing. Have you ever heard, give what you seek? Give what you seek. So if you want money, give money. You want, success? Help people become successful. You want notoriety and fame, right? Give other people credit where credit is due. So it's like, what do you want? So if I go back here, this is Malachi. It says, bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me. This is the only part in the Bible where Jesus said, test me. In this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. Are you with me? So, some of you know what tithing is. Tithing in the Bible means giving a tenth, right? Giving a tenth. And what happens is, if you're given the choice, now that you know what you know, talk about tithing. If you're giving a choice and you choose not to tithe, what is that essentially saying? It's scarcity. There's not enough. Fear that I might not have enough to pay the bills if I do this. Right? So if tithing or giving what you seek you're giving to the church or giving to whatever you believe in. And I'm going to give you another book. This book right here, another great book. So Val, let's say you don't believe in God, you can still give. You can give to charities, right? And what happens is, um, the more it's a law. You give what you seek. You give to charities, good things come back to you. So I recommend reading this book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. I highly recommend reading it. Simply stated, tithing will change your life. When I think of a metaphor for a result of tithing, I think of windows opening and a shower of sparkling gold coming in. Even though tithing produces remarkable results in people's lives, that doesn't mean the practice comes easily or naturally to everyone who hears about it. In fact, tithing is a prosperity principle that tends to bring up the most resistance in people. And I have come to the understand that any resistance people feel toward tithing invariably comes from a fear that there will not be enough to go around. That is a scarcity mentality, right? Scarcity. But the truth is that we live in a lavish and abundant world where all of our wants and needs will be always provided for, something you will come to learn firsthand on your journey of prosperity. And this is a quote from Edwin Gaines in the book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Success. So I highly recommend reading this book. It's a great book. And it's, for the sake of time, I'll save a story for you on that one, maybe for later. But this book has changed my life. Now, if you look at successful people like J.D. Rockefeller, born in July 1839 in New York, he was worth an estimated $340 billion, which in today's terms is the tune of a trillionaire. In today's dollars, he would have been a mega trillionaire. And if you look at his tithing, and this came out of his autobiography, but if you look at his tithing, he started tithing in 1855. He tithed $9.50 for the year in 1855. He increased his tithing over the years, and he made it a priority to him to tithe. In 1887, he tithed over $250,000, which is millions and millions of dollars back in the 1880s. Imagine giving away, tithing, $250,000 in 1887. Now bread in 1887, bread cost 3 cents. 250,000 was what? 5 million bucks in today's terms, especially with inflation, right? So $250,000. In 1890, he gave over $1 million. And over his lifetime, he gave roughly $531 million, which is basically well over multi-billions of dollars in today's terms. He tithed as a ritual, and he is the wealthiest person, right, monetarily wise, that has ever walked the planet. Well, you have the Rothschilds now and that whole Federal Reserve Bank and that whole, I won't go down that rabbit hole. But the bottom line is they had a lot of money, right? Which is amazing. All right, let's talk about the creation process, and we're going to get into the January letter, and we'll wrap it up. So the creative process helps you create what you want in 3 simple steps: ask, believe, and receive. Asking is God or the universe for what you want, and is the opportunity to get hyper crystal clear about what you want. What we talked about when we first started. The difference between successful people, I'm going to ask you what you want. Successful people are hyper crystal clear. Unsuccessful people are generalized. They have a generalized, I want to be rich. I want to do this. I want to do that. So what we want to do is be hyper specific, right? As you get clear in your mind with what you what you ask. Believing involves acting, speaking, thinking as though you have already received for what you asked for. Now, interesting. Let me ask you a question. We talked about you winning the $1 billion lottery. We talked about that about 30 minutes ago. So let's say you won the $1 billion lottery, but you haven't received it yet. You're getting it next Friday. And you're going to take the full cash sum, and let's say you won the billion, so you're going to get theoretically $500 million. Okay. And you're going to get the money, check, whatever, wire, however they do it, next Friday. Okay. What are you going to do between now and then? What are you going to do? You're going to prepare. You're going to prepare. So in the Bible, in 2 Kings, it talks about where they were in the valley, right? I believe it was the Israelites were in the valley. And in 2 Kings, the books, it talks about, there's so many success principles in the Bible, it's crazy. But they're in the valley. There was no rain, no clouds, no sign of rain, no wind, right? And God told them to dig trenches in the valley, anticipating, preparing for what they want. So you know what they did? They went around this whole valley and they dug ditches. They dug trenches, anticipating, preparing for what they asked for. Think about that. So now, right? Part of the creation process is, yes, believing, but what would you do if you won the lottery and you got the money next Friday? What would you do? Literally, if you think about it, you'd prepare. You'd find multiple different banks to put the money in. You'd probably find a really good accountant. You'd probably find a really good investment advisor, right? You probably prepare. You would prepare for what you expected. Prepare. So my question to you is, what are you preparing for? You asked, I want my goals. I want my dreams. I want these things to happen. I want to do this. I want to be successful. And you don't prepare. Prepare. What? Prepare. Prepare. Get yourself, do whatever you got to do, prepare for success. As if you're anticipating. You're getting ready for it to happen. That is called active faith. There's a difference between armchair faith and active faith. Armchair faith is where you're sitting in your chair and you're believing, and I have faith. But then when it comes to active, action-based faith, preparing for what you want. Preparing. So we go back to the creation process, right? Believing involves acting, speaking, thinking as though you have already received what you asked for. When you emit a frequency of having already received it, the law of attraction moves people, moves events, moves circumstances for you to receive it. Receiving involves feeling the way you will feel once your desire has been achieved. Feeling good now puts you in that frequency. So, school me. I've heard that happen from several people about things that happen. But here's what I want you to know. Again, I don't want to sound repetitive, but I'm going to sound repetitive, right? School me, put it in God's hands, right? Whatever you have lost will come back to you tenfold. If you believe that, put in God's hands, whatever you have lost will come back to you tenfold. Whether it be an opportunity, event, actual money, whatever the situation, it will come back to you tenfold. So I understand you've lost that. They're not covering that, but put in God's hands. Have faith and just go about your day. And I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. So this is a way to get clear about what you want. This is where we write down a goal and why you want it, like being clear specifically about what you want. The goal must be quantifiable and measurable, and it's got to be hyper clear, right? Instead of saying I want to lose weight, say I want to actually lose 10 pounds, right? And you want to know specifically, if you want to lose 10 pounds, list the goal, write the specific action, reduce the calories to take say 500 less calories, and you want to walk on a treadmill for 45 minutes, right? So if you look here, right, you can write down some of your goals. And what I do every year is I write down all my goals, and I write them down in this kind of category right here. I write career goals, financial goals, personal goals, health goals, family goals, relationship goals, social goals, and attitude, right? And then I look back over the year and I rate, and this is an example I brought offline. You can just search life balance wheel, and you can find this online. But you look at yourself in career. Where do I rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 career? Where do I rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 finances? Where do I rate myself personal growth? Where do I rate myself health? What happens is you don't want to be, have a ton of money, have a great career, but have no personal growth. Your health is terrible. You don't have a family. Your relationships suck. Your social life's terrible, and you have an okay attitude. So if you excel in these, and these are all, you want a full balance wheel where you can be fully balanced personally, financially, health-wise. So you might sacrifice financially in career to have great personal growth and have good health and have a great family relationship. Again, it's all priorities. So we write down our goals and what we want to accomplish to understand that we can have that that balanced life. A goal is a dream with a deadline. A goal is a dream with a deadline. Now, finally, we've got 2024. We've got the January letter. Yep, at the beginning of January. Yep. Write the letter dated. And now, see, okay, so let me explain this January letter. So I, like most people, would set a goal, set a date, and go, okay, I'm gonna go chase my goal. I read a post by John Carlton, and if you Google John Carlton January letter, that's where I got it. I got it from him. And he wrote a post on the January letter that explained this process I'm going to share with you. And I've been using it pretty much every year. And essentially what it does, it's amazing how it works. But the bottom line is that you are projecting yourself as if it's January 2025 and you're January, now follow me, January 2025, you're projecting a year ahead of time. Now you've already been through 2024, and now you're writing down everything that happened, documented what happened to you in 2024. Follow me? You project yourself forward as if it's January 2025, a year ahead from now. And you're writing down everything that happened in 2024. So, give an example. Write a letter dated 1 year in advance. Date the letter. A document in journal form, everything that you have accomplished in 2024, right? Around these things, right? Your career, your finances, and that's part of the January letter here. As you write the letter, imagine that today was January 10th, per se, 2025, and you're writing your friend or parent, journaling everything that you did in 2024. I used to set goals like I want to make $1 million or I want to lose 10 pounds. It didn't work for me. I felt like I was chasing goals. With this method, writing this letter to myself is more like pulling goals toward me. Every decision I make throughout the year unconsciously is influenced, because I'm reading it in the morning and night, as I'm pulled toward becoming the person that I have described in this letter. Now, take the goals you wrote above and incorporate them into your letter. Be very detailed and specific about your descriptions. Remember the creative process, feeling the way you want to feel once the desire is completed. When you write, use feeling words like these. You can click on this link that will take you to feeling words. Make your goals mega ambitious. Goals you would have to reach that you don't necessarily know how they're going to happen. Don't worry about the how. You're going to achieve them at the very moment. Don't worry about that right now. Just have faith and move forward. So we're going to put the date, right? And we're going to talk about business career. We're going to talk about our family and relationships. We're going to talk about our health, right? We're going to talk about our wealth and net worth. We're going to talk about our purpose, our contribution to what we want to contribute. This is our January letter. So this January letter is a tool that you can have. Now, you can put this like in your day one journal, the app that we talked about earlier. So you can put it in there. But the bottom line is you want to be able to have it readily accessible. You want to be able to read it in the morning. In your morning ritual, read it with excitement. If you can put pictures, especially like in the day one app, you can drop pictures in that app. You can drop them in there and put them in there. I would highly recommend doing that. It's phenomenal. It's awesome. So drop those pictures in there. It gives you like a visualize of like trips maybe you went on and areas in, bank accounts or whatever you want financially, or put a P&L in there or something of your success that you've done for the year and how everything looks. So put that together. January later, read it every morning and read it before you go to bed. Now, if you want to supercharge this, and I haven't taught this in a while, if you want to supercharge this, what you do is go on your recording app, right? Sorry, I'm just signing a contract real quick on DocuSign because they need to get it out. Go on your recording app right here. It's the go on like that voice recorder app or whatever. What you can do is you can record yourself speaking the letter, right? Record yourself speaking your January letter with emotion and excitement, right? So record yourself doing that. Now, when I go to the gym, I listen to myself talking to myself about my goals and ambitions and dreams. And I'm working out. I maybe work out 45 minutes to an hour, stuff like that. It's going in my brain, right? If you are single and you live alone or something like that, and you don't want your spouse to yell at you or whatever, put it on loop at night when you go to bed. It just goes right directly in your subconscious mind. So you can do that. That's how you supercharge. Listen at night, right? And put it on loop of yourself, talking to yourself about what your goals and your dreams. Watch what happens to your life in 2024. Your life will completely change. I mean, literally, you want to have the best 24? Do this. Infuse this. You know what? Some people, they don't have time. They say, I don't have time to do that. You don't have time to plan your life? People spend more time trying to figure out what they want for dinner, or figure out what movie they're going to go to, or figure out what party they're going to go to, what they're going to wear to the party, than actually planning your life. It's literally, you need just about an hour to two to sit down, really think yourself right, document it out, record it, listen to it, and you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed. So, now for people, like I said, we have opened 777 Challenge. So if you want to join 777 Challenge, there's a link in the bio. You can learn more about it here. It's basically how to turn 700 into 7,000 in 7 weeks. And we go through a lot of this. We go through our morning rituals. There's motivation in there. We teach you the how to. This is the most important part, other than 777 Challenge. You know what I mean? The most important part is you get yourself dialed in, right? Get tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. Get locked in, and you'll be amazed to see what happens. So, do we have any questions? If you guys have any questions, I'll open up for questions. And I know I've been here for about 2 hours and 11 minutes, so otherwise I'll let you guys go. Enjoy the book. If you have any questions, I'll be here to answer for you. But otherwise, you guys have been an incredible audience. Thank you so much for spending a couple hours with me here. And I hope you got something out of this. I hope your life changes. And I know for me, the most struggling times that I've had, I've went back to this, right? I get off course sometimes, and I'm going to tell a couple things that really made an impact for me in 2023. Well, first off, I completely gave up all alcohol, right? I gave up all alcohol. It's that, is a good thing. Number one. Number two is that it will change your life, right? Get rid of alcohol, get rid of that. There's nothing good about it. Trust me. And believe me, I'm a Marine, and I am Irish. So Marine and Irish. So I had 2 strikes, but you know what? I changed that. I changed that narrative and did it. But anytime I've ever got off course, and you might be off course right now, you might be off course in your life right now, and it's okay. Okay. It's okay to start with where you are. Don't beat yourself up of what you've done or what you've did or where you are right now, right? Don't beat yourself up from the decisions and the things from the past, because you cannot change the past. You can do, right? You can change the future. So don't beat yourself up about that. Focus on the future. And you can realign, get dialed in on your morning ritual, follow your gratitude letter, stay in gratitude, love, and appreciation. Do that consistency for the next 90 days, and you'll be amazed what happens. But thank you guys so much. Someone, Alec, can you go back to one of the questions there? I asked about an AIF. I think it was Riker. Thank you. Appreciate it. Where's that one? Is it one with the AIF in there? No, okay. Maybe it's down. You can scroll down. No, I must have missed it. Okay. So I thought there was, but maybe I misread. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Have an absolutely blessed evening. I'm excited for 2024. We're going to put out a lot more content. Glad to have you part. If you have anything you want to say, what do you do if you cannot file notice of interest? County told me they won't take a memorandum. Then the other way, school me, what you can do is do a like an invoice, or what I've heard, what we've done is, if we can't do it, we do an invoice. So we tell the title company to put an invoice for our spread on the actual HUD. And then we invoice that HUD. And obviously if it's disclosed to all parties, which they're going to be, because it's on the HUD, just like an NOI, then it becomes fine. So I would just tell them to do that. That's worked with us, especially if you're working with a title company that's, like you're in the know and you're working with that title company to close the transaction. So do an invoice for a just a marketing fee, whatever you call it, or you can it's not a marketing fee, but call it a um, transaction fee or whatever. Okay, hope that helps. Otherwise, guys, God bless. Go out there and crank it, make it happen. Appreciate all you guys being here, and God bless.